This is the Field and Garden Podcast. I'm Jessie with the Gardener's Workshop, and I have a very special episode for you today. We have a mentorship roundtable that we're doing, and we're calling it, What's Your Problem? And we have here today 3 flower farmers at different stages, and I would like to introduce, not that anyone doesn't know her, but this is Lisa Mason Ziegler here from the Gardener's Workshop, owner of the Gardener's Workshop, wonderful educator, flower farmer for over 25 years, and so happy to have her on the podcast today. And then
Hi, everybody.
And then I also have Lennie Larkin from Flower Farming for Profit and B-Side Flower Farm. And she is been flower farming for 15 years. She's a flower business educator and business coach. And we're so happy to have her here today as well. And then I'd also like to welcome Torrie Anderson from the Flower Farm at Young's Mill. And she's joined us here today for some advice from both Lisa and Lennie. And we're so happy to have the 3 of you here. Welcome.
So happy to be here.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you, girls, for joining us. And thank you, Jessie.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
It feels a little bit like the Brady Bunch, I realized. Like, I want to look up at Lisa and look, yeah. It's great.
To like look over and then look down.
Yeah, it is true.
All right. So I was wondering, Torrie, if you might start off by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your farm and what's going on with you currently.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me. This is really fun to be with you guys. I have a flower farm called the Flower Farm at Young's Mill. We're located in southeastern Virginia, Newport News, just a few miles away from Lisa, actually. This is our 4th growing season. We grow cool flowers, summer annuals. This year we added a bunch of perennials, which has been really fun to watch them grow this year, and just know that it's an investment and it's less work, just maintaining them. We have 4 kids. My husband and I run the farm. They're 13, 11, 7, and 4. So my hands are full. And it's summertime, so it's really hard right now having them home. But yeah, so that's where I'm at.
How much space do you guys grow on?
We have, so our property is about 1 acre, but where we live it has some like earthworks from the Civil War. And so we're installing some terracing to kind of maximize our space since we're not working with like a flat open field. And then we also have our house and our driveway. And then we also lease a 1 acre lot that's about a 2-minute walk. And so I'd say between the 2 properties and the uneven terrain, it's about a 1/2 acre that is active growing space.
Great. So now you're working the farm yourself, right? You don't have employees or anything like that?
No, this year we actually hired some help, which has been amazing. They're all students. So let's see, 2 of them are still high school age and then 2 just started college. And so 2 girls have been helping me harvest. And then I have 2 guys, actually only one of them, because one broke his collarbone this summer, not at the farm. But so one high school, or I guess one college boy, and he's been my muscle. So that's helped me a whole bunch this summer.
And do the kids have an opportunity to help?
Oh, yes. Yeah, large families. I'm an only child, so this is very foreign having a large family, but we require our kids to work 2 hours a day. And so sometimes it's not farm related. It's like watching the 4-year-old or helping cook a meal. But they do help wash buckets and cut flowers and make bouquets when I can get them too. So,
all right. Well, why don't you lead us in a little bit to what you feel like is working for you now and what you feel like you might be struggling with?
Yeah. So I'd say on the growing side of things, I feel like I'm doing an okay job at producing good flowers, like quality flowers. My customers have been pleased. And so it's more so on the selling side of things that has been difficult. And I think most people experience when you start a business, you kind of have your head down and you're just kind of focusing on the thing. And so it's like, I've got to grow flowers. I have to grow flowers. And so now that I've hired help this year, I've been able to kind of like look around and see other things that need attention and kind of pay attention to, why didn't those people come again this week to the farmer's market? Or why aren't they buying as many flowers this week? And so just kind of starting to gather data. And so the selling side of things, I'd say, has been hard in one sense because I'm trying to figure out where I should be selling. But I will say a positive on the selling side for us is Lisa's kind of model of harvesting twice a week and selling wholesale at the beginning of the week and then retail at the end of the week. That has set a really healthy rhythm for us and our family because last summer we worked really hard, but our family revolved around our business. And I want the business to revolve around our family and like get to a more healthier like balance of work and life and being present with my kids and still doing what I enjoy doing. But, trying to figure out how to work smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, Lisa.
So tell us, who have you been selling to? I mean, kind of tell us where you started and what have you evolved into? Who are your customers?
Yeah. So the first year that we sold, we started something similar to your market. I'm forgetting.
Members only
market. So we call them flower passes, which are essentially gift cards. And we have our customers come to our farm on Fridays. And over the last few years, we've like extended those hours to make it more accessible to those members. I think we have 130 members.
Well done.
Very, very small number come every week. But that we started with, and that was like an easy kind of entry for us because both my husband and I grew up in this area, and our families all, know a lot of people and we're plugged into our church. And so we just know a lot of people. And so that was like an easy start to sales, like to have a place for our flowers to go. And then we've tried out 2 different farmers markets. Our first one was on a Sunday and that didn't work for our family. So we didn't do that after the first summer that we did that. But right now we're at a farmer's market on Saturdays. We're taking a short hiatus for July and August, and we'll be back in September. But that's kind of our end of the week. So Fridays we have our members come, Saturdays, except for right now, we're at a farmer's market. And then beginning of the week, we're selling to florists and designers.
Well, so Lennie, what's your initial reaction here as far as where Torrie's at in her business?
Yeah, I love learning about Torrie's business. It sounds so wonderful. And working with the kids, I think I would love to understand the problem a little bit more. And I think I can kind of jump ahead and get there. But I just want to ask, like, how, a few more questions, such as, how are farmers market sales? Are they strong enough or are they not doing it for you? And are you trying to expand sales? Are you trying to expand wholesale sales? Do you not know or not care? Like, where are the points of tension for you right now? Is it a time thing or is it a not enough customers thing? Or tell us a little bit more about that, about the problems.
I feel like I'm a little bit in this place of, I want to know what people want. And so it's like, my tension is I want to be really efficient with my time because my time is very stretched. And so whatever sales outlet I go to, I want it to be like the most bang for your buck is like the best way to say it.
Yeah.
And farmers markets for me, I love the community piece of it. I love that our farmers market is just like a couple miles down the road. So when I have a sign up and it says Newport News grown, people are like, where? Like, that is really cool. I don't want to go to like the neighboring town and sell flowers. So I'm kind of picky in that regard, but I would say that the market is not consistent.
Okay.
It's pretty small. There's like probably on a good day, 8 or 9 vendors, including myself, and there's repeat vendors. So you might have multiple sweets and like multiple bread people. There's one produce person. There's no, it's all consumable. So there's no like arts and crafts and, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the unique part about this market is it's in like a downtown, like it's off of like, it's called Main Street. And there's a strip of shops and they're open Saturday mornings. And so when I like look around, I'm like, this is such a cool place to be. Like, where is everybody?
Right.
Because the market it draws people there Saturday morning. And then there's all those shops and you see people kind of buzzing around, and it's really fun for our town to have that. But the sales are not great, and not to have consistency. Also, our flowers last almost 2 weeks. And so I see my customers walk by and they like wave, they're like, my flowers still look good. And I'm like, yeah, great. What more?
If we could wave a wand right now, what would you want? Is it more customer? I mean, it does sound like just more sales, right? You're looking to sell, you're growing a lot of flowers and you're not selling all of them. That sounds like one of your problems, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And I know that I could, with more time, I could find more florists. I would say I just feel so strapped for time and like the balance of wanting to be home with my kids. Like, I'm okay with like hiring somebody to do my deliveries to florists, but I think there's real value in being the person who goes into the shop. And I love that part of it, like getting to know my customers. But there's just real value in understanding, like seeing what products they have in their shop that were imported or another grower is selling it to them, and understanding like, oh, what other, product is out there that local growers are selling too. So I know there's value in that, and I probably could grow more in that, but I feel strapped for time.
Yeah. Right. You've got such a full plate. Plate. Yeah. To go back to Jesse's question, or to answer Jesse's question rather, my gut is telling me that this farmer's market isn't working for you the way we would hope it would be, right? You've been there for a few years now, at least. I think a lot of people really thrive at farmers markets if they either are killing it with sales, which is usually not the case in the very beginning, or it's really helping them get the word out about their farm so that they can start bringing those customers to them, whether at a farm stand or at your Friday sales off your property, right? So my gut reaction is that the farmers market doesn't seem to be doing either of those things for you. Mm-hmm. And so I'm interested in how we can use the fact that you're so rooted in your community to get the word out, to get more of these members, or get more of those 130 members actually coming out every week. So that's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Awesome. So Lisa, is that also something that you picked out, the farmers market? What is your thought on that?
Yes, it sounds like I agree with Lennie 100%. And what Torrie's experiencing, we see there's so many farmers markets now, and so few of them actually have what I tend to call champion market managers that are marketing the heck out of those farmers markets, keeping it producer only, which is what really draws the crowds in, but it also limits the number of vendors that are in there. I mean, they have to walk a real line. And so you can't sell to no foot traffic. And Torrie, I so understand what you were saying about the customers that walk by and say, oh, my flowers still look great. You know, I'll see you next week. When I was in a market that was notorious low traffic, that was a frequent flyer. When you're in a busy market, you don't even hear that stuff. You know what I mean? Because you're busy selling flowers because there's just so many customers. And so I feel like, you know, where you often hear people say, when you're talking about where to put your business, location, I feel like choosing the farmer's market that you decide to participate in 100% has to be based on, I now tell students, it's like the first question when they invite you to the farmer's market is you want a foot count. How many people attend that market every week? Good market managers are clicking the entire 4 hours, or well, just a well-managed market, meaning there's active marketing going on. There's policing of the vendors, which makes it, you know, the policing of the vendors. I remember the first market I was in, we had basically a pit bull manager. But you know what? It's one of the #1 farmers markets on the East Coast now because of that. It was hard to get in, but once you were in, you had tons of people walking past your booth. Then it's up to you, but you can't sell to nobody. So Torrie, you're experiencing at a level that's really out of your control, for real.
Well, and I think the frustrating part about the farmers markets that aren't being marketed well, and this is how I'm feeling about our market, is that I can bust my butt all week long to produce the best flowers that these customers are going to see that day. And I can have the prettiest setup and do all the things right by, I guess, my standards. And then if nobody shows up, you know, then it's like, okay, like, what's the point? And so, like I was saying, like, I want, it sounds terrible, but like the most bang for my buck, you know, like if I'm going to spend all the energy doing this work, you know, I want there to be something that comes back from it. Cause it's not just for me, like my kids are seeing it, you know, they're paying a price too by us choosing this lifestyle. And so I want my time to be efficiently used, and yeah.
I think we've got that really, really honed in here, that the time for what you're getting out of it is really where you're hoping to have some improvement. And I think you have the right folks here to help us come up with some ideas. And so I'm really happy about that. I think this is going to be a great roundtable discussion. So what can we do to kind of hone in on the things that are going to help Torrie with her time issue so that she can focus on some other options other than the farmer's market if she goes that direction? Lennie, can I tap into you first on that?
Sure. And I wanted to add real quick too, that sometimes when I work with students or coaching clients of mine who are at this kind of crossroads, and you might sort of have this gut feeling about what you need to do next or what you need to stop doing. So, right, we can talk about stopping the farmer's market if you're interested in that, and then what to do next. But sometimes we have all these emotions tied up with it, as I'm sure you do. Like, you want to see this market thrive. You want to see the other vendors thrive. You've been there for your community for so long that you probably feel like you want to keep being there.
Yeah.
But I think to get yourself over the hump to make the best decision for your business and for your family, it really is worth putting pen to paper and writing out how much time and effort and labor and dollars at the end of the day you are spending to be at that market, you know. And it starts with the day before. And it sounds like you're like this, you grow super high quality flowers. I'm guessing you're sort of a perfectionist, because I'm guessing Lisa and I work with a lot of perfectionists. I'm imagining all the flower farmers want everything to be perfect, from each flower to the market setup. which goes a long way. But I think we can sometimes get carried away with wanting everything to be A++++, when like B work can sometimes be just fine. But I think it's worth doing a little back of the napkin calculation for yourself. Like it takes us 5 hours to prepare for market, half an hour to get there, an hour to set up, 4 hours on site, an hour to come home. We bring home this many flowers, so that's unsold product. So you have all those costs, and then you balance them with your sales. And if your sales are like $200, I can already tell you you're barely breaking even. And so it's not only the loss of all that time and money, but it's, what they call the opportunity cost. What else could you be doing with that super valuable time and effort and bandwidth? So I just wanted to encourage you to do that before we move on, because sometimes seeing it on paper can make you take the leap that is right for your business, but your emotions haven't quite caught up to yet.
Right. That's good.
How can we leverage the fact that you are so rooted in your community and your family is, to start getting the word out that you are here and you have flowers for sale? And how can we expand? I'm thinking about those Friday sales, or maybe making a Friday option and a Saturday option is what I'm thinking about. And we can talk about all the different ways you could sell flowers, but I don't always think that the kind of mechanism of selling the flowers needs to be entirely unique. It just needs to be fine-tuned. And it sounds to me like you already have a place on your farm where people can come pick up flowers. You're set up for it, and you've built this really great customer base. So my head goes to, how can we get those current 130 people more excited and more incentivized to come out more often? And then how can we expand that list also?
Okay.
Now, Lisa, I know that you've been, because Torrie lives in the same general area that you do, that you've been to Torrie's farm and seen her set up. And I had the opportunity to do that too when I was there in town, which is wonderful. And I feel like it's a very warm and inviting environment that you've created, Torrie.
Yeah.
I think it's, I happened to be there on one Friday morning when you had folks arriving and not just picking up flowers, but really enjoying the environment. And I think that's something that a lot of people really crave. And just because you don't have everybody coming every week, I mean, that is such a nice resource for people, even just to know that they could go. Do you know what I mean? And what do you think about that, Lisa? I almost feel like I would want her to maybe consider letting people come on Saturday, as Lennie mentioned.
Yeah, she is really set up. One of the things that Torrie and I are both up against is city ordinances. We are in the city, which means we can't have a farm stand out front where people just drop in. That's behind the whole, she followed the model of my members only market, which where people bought a gift card basically online, and then they were coming to the farm to pick up their product, which is totally within the guidelines of the city, right? And so after all of our years, we had about 175 members in our membership. And over the years, literally never more than 20% showed up in a week. And it's ebb and flow. And I agree with Lennie that growing that number, first off, we're terrified to say, okay, I'll take 100 more members, because you're thinking, what if they all show up? Well, that is just not going to happen. And if it does happen, what a wonderful problem to have, for parking and stuff. But I feel like promoting, and the farmers market, that market that I mentioned that we had no foot traffic, that's what kept me there through a year. Is I was soliciting potential members for my market and say, you know what, we have this available and you get to come to the farm and you can bring your kids or bring your grandma or whatever and take pictures in the garden. I think marketing your come to the farm with the flower pass really needs to be marketed more, and to do it Friday and Saturday. And the thing that I learned, we changed the name of our market probably 6 times throughout my 25-year career, because you're trying to find the simplest, easiest to understand. Forget all the foo-foo mess. what do people look at and immediately recognize that they can come to your farm and pick up their flowers, And so I would say, I think the challenge is communicating what it is and how you are right in the heart of the city, right off of one of the busiest two roads that we have.
Yes.
Super convenient. But I agree, opening up Saturday mornings instead of packing up your vehicle, finding somebody to watch your kids, all that stuff. We just need to get more people to come to your farm.
Yeah. I agree. So we you pull into our property and it's our driveway, and it's a large driveway. And our house is right there. So the driveway connects to our house. And so this year I've done more of a self-serve checkout. And I've tried to not be there. And I've, instead of closing on a Friday because of, being on vacation or something, I've kept it open and have really been teaching my customers to come, and you've got this card and it has a QR code, use the iPad, scan it. And they've done pretty well. And I have a book on the side that allows them to just mark next to their name what they take. I just have to remember to transact later. But my fear is that more time open means I am tied down, I guess, or I have to be around on a Saturday too. And it is where we live. It's not, it's not a big field and our barn is over here and our house is over here. It's all together. That's my reservation.
Torrie, I love that you listed out a few of your fears regarding this change, because I think we can't make decisions until we understand how we're feeling about them and then see whether they're valid. Well, they're all valid, of course, but whether we can push past them and whether it's worth pushing past them or not. And I think the things you just listed are things we can actually help you to push past. First of all, the privacy concerns with your home, totally understand that, right? And often we're not worried about even vandalism or theft. We're just worried about loss of privacy. But there are things you can do. Of course, I don't know the layout of your farm, but it might be worth investing in some fencing, investing in a new hydrangea border that offers some separation between the home and where the pickup would be. And it, might be an investment you weren't planning on making right now, but once you balance that against the potential increase in sales you can have, it might really be worth it. And we all know that you can put up as many signs as you want to, but that people don't read and people aren't going to read it. But so I think that is such a valid concern and something I bet both Lisa and I hear from so many farmers. But there are ways to work around it. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of the fear about being tied down, first of all, I'll remind you that you were tied down at farmers market every Saturday up until, so it'll be better than that. Maybe it'll cut the time in half. And I was thinking, as you were speaking, I was thinking, okay, well, maybe there's the Friday vibe where people, it stays as it is, people come, it's self-serve, it's checkout. And maybe Saturdays, if you do want to be there, or maybe it's one Saturday a month you want to be there, that's more the social hour. And I was thinking of it as maybe people go to church on Sundays, Sunday mornings, Saturday mornings, they come and chat with their friends while they're buying a bouquet. You make it a real community kind of pastime. And also, I don't know how comfortable maybe your oldest kid is with this, but maybe one of your kids, especially as they get a little older, maybe they're the social butterfly and they can be the one to staff it on Saturdays for you. You don't, and maybe you do just start out with once a month, you're there and you're talking to people and it's their chance to come chat with you. Or maybe the first hour of every Saturday you're there. But I think there are ways to work around it. And I think it could expand your business and your just happiness in relation to your business so much that those are things you can push back against.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I like that.
Lisa, what do you think about that? Because I know you did the same type of setup where you had, this sale on your property and, didn't maybe have a very specific differentiation between your personal property and where people would visit. What are your thoughts on that?
So for us out of the gate, we were so structured. I mean, we made it so clear to people that I think I scared some customers off a little bit. It's like people, it was like Friday mornings, this is the window. Then we expanded it, and then we added a second day. We actually, I think we did on Wednesdays as well for quite some time, because a lot of our population play golf on Friday mornings, and that really kept them from coming. But what I was going to say is there's just so many options. We learned so much during the pandemic where we didn't, that was our busiest time, was during the pandemic, right? And so we set up a contactless curbside pickup. And I'm not suggesting that you do that, except you could expand your pickup hours potentially. That's unmanned. That could be a potential. And I totally get it about, and I know the setup of your place, how it's difficult to create. It's like my husband saying things like, are people coming here today? That's the problem. It's like, because everybody sees him and wants to talk to him, and stuff. And you're home. You're not at work for once, right?
Right.
So I understand all of that. And that's why we put in a parking lot, but that was like, 15 years into the gig. So I think that if you really put your mind to it and really thought about it, there might be ways to accommodate having more people buy more flower passes and pick up more flowers, as well as you could even at some point in time offer, a drop off in these 2 zip codes. That's what we did. Zip codes that are right here around me, not you necessarily, somebody else that's delivering your florist flowers or something. I think there's a lot of other ways. I just don't have a lot of, I don't want to say faith in farmers markets. The cat fights that go on between vendors, the producer only not being followed. People are buying flowers. We have that happen in another market here in town. They literally buy flowers from a local store and show up to market. I think that you could really run with this with a little bit of you thinking about it and seeing what you guys want to do. And, I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. I think there's more there than there is anywhere else.
And I think that there's something else too that you might want to consider, or that you may need to consider at some point, is if your membership grows for that, maybe there's an opportunity to set up time slots, like, large swaths of time where people that are have a last name that's A through F go this time frame, and then things like that, in a way that would kind of eliminate some of the concerns about the parking and about the space, but those, I think, are issues for that could be resolved down the road. But I think that there's an opportunity to take on more folks well before that might become a real serious issue. What do you think about, Torrie, what is your initial reaction to the idea of winding down the farmers market? I know you said that, you really wanted it to be successful and that it's a beautiful place and stuff like that. Is it possible that you could find a different, should you have the time for it at some point, a different way to support that organization that would serve that need? What do you think about that?
I like the idea of being at home with my family on a Saturday morning, and not having to load up the car again and hauling everything over and dumping buckets of water in my car. Like, that all sounds really nice.
And hauling the flowers back when they don't sell. That's the worst.
Yes. Yeah, that's painful. No, I like that idea. I would say, I like the idea of growing our Flower Pass program. I've not really considered that. I don't know why, which is why I'm talking to you, right?
That's right.
Outside of the box. It's not a concern, but like, the way we sell it is similar to how Lisa did, where we do $100 increments. is if somebody wants a bouquet and they're not a Flower Pass customer and they just wanted a $20 bouquet this week for a friend's birthday. If you're not anywhere else, that's the way that they get their flowers. It's like, sure, you can have a $20 bouquet, but you have to give me $100. You don't do it at all.
I feel like that is not a level playing field, especially to the people that are giving you $100 to be able to come to your farm. And that was a big piece of our marketing was, when you're a member of our members only market, that means you get to come to the farm. Nobody else comes here.
Mm-hmm.
This is your opportunity. That means you can come and, walk the fields and do whatever. And so I feel like that is just really not fair to your flower, to my members only market people. And we didn't have any other way for people to get our flowers. People called us all the time. And you want to know what 99% of them did? Bought a garden share.
Okay.
And then they're like, oh, wow, then I can come back and get more flowers.
Yeah.
They don't get it. You know what I mean? Until it's like, no, I'm so sorry. Our flowers are only available through the Flower Pass or whatever you call it. And, sorry.
Yeah.
Just learn to pause.
Yeah. I think that
they'll buy it.
When you're still new at it, that's scary to turn a sale down. And so
I get it.
It's like, oh no, they're not going to buy my flowers. Don't go to the grocery store.
You could experiment with like a trial pass that's $50 or so. I'm sure, Lisa has so much more experience. I haven't done this exact thing. Maybe she tried this and it didn't work. But if you sense that people are just kind of gun shy, but they want to try it out. I know some like vegetable CSA farms that do that kind of thing. That's of course different because people sign up for the whole season and they get a box of food every week. But people have, if it's just a little drop down menu on their website, like want to try a box for a week, and maybe it's a little more expensive than it would be for the members, something like that. But you could think through that if you really feel like you're turning around tons of business right now. But I think Lisa's right. Like the demand will be there so soon. You probably have more demand out there than you even realize once you remind people that you're there and let them know that you're kind of putting new energy into this program. They're going to be, I hope, beating down the doors. And then I love what Lisa said, like you just have to tell them the line. And then I heard someone say once, you have to sit on your hands and make yourself not fill in the space with other offers for them. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I could accommodate you this way. Oh, no, you're like, nope, it's a members only market. You can buy a pass.
Yes, that's good.
And you wait.
Pause.
Right. Yeah. Pause.
Well, let me ask you this, Torrie. Are you currently promoting this program when you're at the farmers market?
Yes. If I'm like, people will ask, can I come to your farm? And I'm like, no, but if you have Flower Pass, you can. So I like talk about it when it comes up in conversation, but I don't have like any sort of signage or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I kind of see that as part of the transition, should you decide to do this, as part of the transition for the remainder of this season, is to come up with something to really make people extra aware of that at the farmers market, and maybe even incentivize them, give them an opportunity to buy an advance share, perhaps, for the coming season, or for however you see fit in terms of the length of your season and that kind of stuff. Some people's farmers markets end before they actually have the end of their season of flowers, right? So it's possible that there's some overlap there where you could transition some of these folks this year.
Yes.
Even, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So Lisa, what do you think would be like if she chose to do this sort of thing, what do you think would be like the first step? Are you thinking kind of that, like with Lennie's idea where she needs to kind of maybe put some things down on paper, or what's your reaction to that?
Totally agree with that. And I tell you what's bubbling up in my mind right now. I mean, for Torrie to be able to do for the rest of this season when she gets back to the farmer's market is, first off, to make a flyer. You need to have something to hand to people, and to have a starter Flower Pass, which is, like Lennie suggested, maybe $30 or $40. And, that starts next season, maybe, or they can come now. I haven't thought it all the way through, but I think to be able to do that, to get their email address so that you can be able to follow and be in touch with them. I will tell you that before we started we used to send an email every week on Wednesday about what kind of flowers they can see on Friday. We didn't do that for a long. You're just too busy. I mean, Torrie, I totally understand why you're not marketing this. It's like we are drowning in stuff to do. But back when we didn't send an email, it's like few people with the dedicated flower junkies showed up every week, but the rest of them just kind of forgot, right? So selling a starter flower pass, because you never know what next year holds. I'm not sure we'll be here or not. You know what I mean? You don't have to say it that blunt, but it's like plant that seed and they can come to your farm. And you're saying that people are asking to come to your farm. I'm telling you, when you make it clear that, yes, people come to our farm, those are my flower pass people. Mm-hmm. They come every single Friday and get to see where the flowers grow and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Get a flower pass, man. Come on over. Treat it like it should be. And we should not hold back from promoting our businesses. Mm-hmm. That is the point. If, we're not in this to make a profit, then what's the point? You're just growing and giving away flowers. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's so easy to get caught up emotionally. I know I did. I mean, I have, want to hear the honest truth, probably the last 10 years of our members only market, guess who was never at the members only market? Suzanne ran it. You know what? She kicked me out. You want to know why? I was constantly giving stems away. Here, add one of these. Do this. Suzanne's like giving me the stink eye. And, because I feel this people pleasing. So I understand so very, very well. But I'm here to tell you, guess what? Suzanne counted every stem, charged for every stem, and the only way people dropped out of our market is if they moved away or passed away. And then we did their funeral flowers through our local florist. I mean, really.
So by offering this as an option to you, I feel like we aren't giving you a whole day back. Related to, spending more time with your family, but you could potentially, eventually incorporate, your kids into this, something, like this. And there's a less preparation that would go into it, as far as packing up and tearing down and all of that stuff. Do you feel like this gives you, or has the potential to give you the time, some additional time that you feel like you're lacking for other tasks?
Yes, because it is doing something that I already am doing. It's just growing something I'm already doing. And so it kind of is getting time back, it feels like, because the preparation for the farmers market was extra on top of what I was doing Friday. And then you have to pack, and then you have to go and come back and clean up. And so even if I had to be home on Saturday, or we were opened on Saturday, like it's still, I'm not leaving the farm. I'm not leaving my house. And so that does feel like time back. Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you something else real quick here. Do you have a promotional piece already for this members only market? I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly what you call it.
It's a flower pass. We just call it a flower pass. Yeah. At the bouquet barn. That's what we call our barn.
Yeah.
Do you have a flyer already or something like that you can hand to people?
I do not, but that's not hard for me to do. Yeah. So that would be pretty easy.
Great. Yes, Lisa.
So, and I think the other thing that I would like to just piggyback on for food for thought is, because we are in the middle of a city of 200,000 people and multiple business parks, that the other thing that works really well with the members only market, kind of not going anywhere, is your bouquet subscriptions. Because we're in the city, can really handpick which zip codes, we can say we drop them off on your porch, or we walk in the front door and hand them to your receptionist. That is something that a lot of growers don't have that option because they're an hour or even 45 minutes out of town.
Right.
And that the members only market and bouquet subscriptions are pre-sold. So they're already sold. So it helps you to plan, and then you sell the other harvest for that week to the florist. And when it's gone, it's gone. You know what I mean? That's what really helped us balance out how much we grew. It's like, all right, how much did we pre-sell? And that's how much we'll sell the opposite to the florist for the other harvest that weekend. I just think you have great opportunity, and I know that you are growing great flowers, and I think the future is bright.
Thank you.
But, Torrie, I think you hit the nail on the head that it's kind of something you're already doing. And I think that's how we were all able, this wasn't jumping to any conclusions by us all honing in on, yes, this flower pass and subscriptions perhaps are where you should head, because you have that proof of concept. When you said, about 130 people are signed up, and sure, not all of them buy every week, but that tells us, there's demand for this, and I think before, if we didn't have that number, we would have deliberated a little bit more. Should she do this flower pass thing? Should she try instead pop-ups at coffee shops? Should she do something more innovative? But innovative doesn't always pay the bills. Like that tells us that there was interest in this, and you've barely done anything. To your credit, you've barely had the time to put much effort into this marketing, yet it still worked for you.
Right.
And, I look back on my own experience, and there were a few years where I kept trying to do a summer CSA or like a summer dahlia CSA. And I kept getting like 10 members. It just was not popular. Whereas my peony CSA had 100 members. And so it took me so many years, I have to tell you guys, to drop the CSAs that hardly got any sign up and to double down on the peony CSA and put more effort into that. Because if 100 people signed up, that means there's 100 more out there that would also want to. And so I think that we're riding this inertia that you've created. And the future is bright. I'm so excited for you. And I think you are going to get even more. I wanted to jump in with Jesse was saying, perhaps we haven't given you a whole day back, but I was thinking, au contraire, Jesse, in fact, if she makes, Torrie, if you make such higher sales with this market, which honestly in our guts, I think we all know you're going to achieve more sales than the farmer's market, that's going to give you time to maybe hire more help, to maybe start doing the things in the business that only you can do, and have more help with the things that you can outsource, like Lisa said, the deliveries, maybe the harvesting. Yeah. And then this will give you time to, and this is my hot tip, I think, is to set aside an hour a week to work on marketing, and I know you haven't had time to do this so far, but this is going to make all the difference, reaching out and collaborating with other businesses around town, following up with old friends in town who haven't bought from you and reminding them that you have a farm, doing a few little campaigns with your members and getting them to bring a friend in, get a friend to buy a flower pass and you get a free whatever, the sky is the limit. But if you sit down every week and you're like, this is my marketing hour, you're going to really be able to lean into this and to really grow this program.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Torrie, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us and share your concerns and your fears and your triumphs and all of that stuff. We really appreciate you being open with us. And I want to also thank Lisa and Lennie for expert advice, of course, but also just an opportunity to just commiserate and feel the fact that flower farming is, it can be kind of isolating sometimes. And this is something I think that kind of resonates. A part of Torrie's story resonates with everybody, right? And so I really appreciate all three of you. Thank you so much for being here today. And I want to just thank all of our listeners as well. And, we can't do this without you. And the Gardener's Workshop is here for you to enjoy the seeds and tools and supplies that Lisa uses on her farm, but also the educational resources that we have. And we have tons of free educational resources on our website. We also have some wonderful online courses. That's how I got involved with the Gardener's Workshop, was through the online courses. Lennie, of course, has her profitable flower farming course that she offers through the Gardener's Workshop. And Lisa has her tremendous basics informational flower farming course, as well as some seed starting courses and things like that. I think that we've got a little of something for everybody, and I so appreciate everyone being here. Thanks again, Lisa and Lennie and Torrie.
Thanks.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Thanks for having me. This has been a real pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
All right, from the Gardener's Workshop, thanks so much. Hey, flower friends. I just wanted to come back on real quick and share some of my takeaways from this special episode. So the first one was that farm evolution is normal and all businesses evolve over time. So do your goals and needs. Also, take time to evaluate what's working and not working, both from an emotional perspective, a financial perspective. Be sure to look at all the angles. Lastly, realize that you're not alone. We're here for you, and you can connect with us and with our guests. I'll put all the links in the show notes. If you enjoyed this special episode, we encourage you to share it with a friend. Thank you so much. Have a great day.